Hey, everybody, welcome back to DMs Anonymous, the podcast for DMs who can't talk to any of their friends because they all play in their games. As always, we got Andreas and Ari, and I
I
am
have a
Jacob.
face.
Yes, she has a face. So when you can check her out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Let's get all the housekeeping out of the way. Member of the Broken Jars Broadcasting family, brokenjars.xyz, brokenjarsbroadcasting at gmail.com. I am at Jacob Ingles on Twitter. Check out the Drive-Thru RPG link below to help us out. You can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Broken Jars. If you want to give us some of your hard-earned money every month. I think that's about it.
Sounds about right.
You can check out the DMs Anonymous Discord below as well. How's everybody doing? It's we took a little extra time off.
I sound like death, but it's fine. I'm totally fine, I swear. Just screaming my brains out. It's the scary season, so
Yes, it is. Andreas, have you been running any games?
Yeah, we've been playing as near future urban fantasy kind of game while we're waiting for Odyssey of the Dragon Lords. So that's what we're playing right now. They're running a kind of a detective agency, and I did not. They picked the name of the agency. I don't approve, but it's called Psych.
I love it. Your James Roday and Dule Hill referencing for the day.
Yeah, which has been it's going okay so far. They met I'm not speaking too loud because my roommate's in that session, but they've met the dragon of the greater LA area, which is where they're operating.
That's excellent.
And he's kind of made them his gophers. So when he needs something done, like right now, because nothing was really happening, so I was like, okay, I'll send them on a quest, kind of. So he contacted them, and he was like, there's this box that was supposed to arrive for me, and it didn't, and I want it back. You go get it. I'll give you $20,000.
Nice. What system are you using?
We're playing Voin, which I think I've talked about before, which is made for. There are three versions of it. Voin New, which is sci-fi. Voin Now, which is contemporary. And Voin, what's the fantasy one called? But the last one's fantasy, but I don't remember the name. Voin Old. That's what it's called.
Since they're running a detective agency,
it's like a consulting, like the first mission they were on, they did an exorcism thing. So it's like,
run of the mill. It's fine every day.
Yeah, if you kind of like imagine kind of Angels investigation thing from the TV show, but run by a ruthless what's that word? What's the economic model that we all run by? Right.
Capitalism?
Yeah. By a ruthless capitalist. not a guy who wants to do good and help the helpless, but instead it's run by Pete, who's my roommate, that's his character name, who's like his whole persona is make money.
Since they're doing that kind of stuff, I definitely check out like the free Dresden modules on Drive-Thru RPG, because there's some pretty good investigative stories that can easily just be plopped into anything you're running.
Yeah, I might check that out. Since how much does this cost? If I were to purchase it through our Drive-Thru RPG link,
they're all free through Drive-Thru RPG.
They're all free. I mean, that's great value right there. Yeah. Check out drivethrurpg.com. Use the Broken Jars link in the section below.
Yep. All right, what you been up to?
Since I work on Thursday through Sunday, I have had very little D&D in my life. It's all been kind of pushed to the weekdays. So I have a Monster of the Week game that I am a player in that has been shifted to Wednesday. I have our DMA D&D game. And then I get to play Scion Sunday afternoons for about 2 hours before I have to leave for work. So I'm not running anything right now, but as soon as the scary season is over, I'm hopping right back in, and it looks like that I might also have 2 new games that I'm going to be a player in. So that's going to be excellent.
Of course.
Oh, speaking of being a player, I've been thinking about talking with my roommates run another game in Void New, which is sci-fi, and I've been thinking about joining them and basically playing they have Star Knights in that system, which are Jedis.
Oh, that's fun.
And I've been thinking about like playing some sort of Jedi, maybe changeling, so I can look like anyone. So.
Oh, that's fun.
And I'm thinking like doing him like kind of Asian, so he'll be like, "Oh yes, very, very. Thank you very much." That's like something like I want to give him like an accent and a persona. It's like try and stay in character.
As long as you don't get offensive with it, then I say go for it. And the best way to do that is practice. So.
I mean, even if it gets super offensive, who's like nobody gives a shit at my table. I mean, it's not like we're recording it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Again, best place to practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, all I've got's the Dungeon Masters Anonymous game going. I am prepping to start a Curse of Strahd 5e game in January.
Definitely sounds like fun. You're gonna have to keep us updated on that.
Yeah, it should be a good time. I've played through most of it, and I've always wanted to run it as a DM because it seems like a lot of fun to run. You know, actually like RPing Strahd and all that. Just like
I didn't run the new one. I ran that converted old one I told you about, but it was fun to run. But so I think the fifth edition one would be cool to run.
Yeah, because like in the 5th edition one, like it's designed to where the players run into Strahd like 4 or 5 times to the campaign. Like, so it's like a very active big bad. So it seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it was something similar. The first time they run into him in the one I played, I remember clearly, is he seeks them out in a church before they go to his place of operation.
Yeah, I don't know how it was in the original, but in 5e they had this tarot deck.
Yeah, that was there too. And the guy who converted it did the whole conversion for it, so you can play it.
Nice, yeah. So like, it's designed to you have random encounters every time you play it. So so I'll do that, and I spent the money and bought like the map pack and everything on Roll20, so I won't have to like do anything special. Like it's going to be pretty minimal effort.
Can you have like the tarots in the map? In the Roll20? Oh, that's neat. So the players can see it. You can show them like the tarots. Nice.
Yeah, so you can do like the reading like as it's supposed to be done. I mean, if you want to spend the money, you can do some really cool stuff because they have like all the official stuff have like map packs and icon packs and stuff in Roll20.
I actually have a thing. Speaking of kind of off topic to what we're going to talk about today, but definitely Dungeons and Dragons role playing related. Roll20 has the whole map thing and everything. Like that's what you use it for mainly, right? Being able to like show your players this is the map and hear you and do the combat and everything together over the internet. But D&D Beyond recently got something very similar, right? Have you tried both? Because I haven't tried it because it requires a subscription, and my roommate has like every book, and he has the big subscription where he can share everything with us. So I'm not really incentivized to get a subscription to check it out. But I was wondering.
I don't know. I don't know. I've bought some of the books on Roll20. That's my extent of using it, and I've used like the character generator, but I haven't really checked out any of the new features.
But so you're not run combat before on Roll20? Okay.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I mean, that thing is what most people use it for, is to play over the internet with like there's the map and you do the dice roll and everything in the app so everyone can see.
Didn't know that was a thing.
I've been a player with DMs using the maps and tokens and such, but I've yet to do it as a DM.
Okay, this is because they recently somewhat recently, they announced, or there's this beta that you can try on D&D Beyond if you're a subscriber, which is like what Roll20 does, which is what I thought originally D&D Beyond would have, but that's like,
Yeah,
they have that now.
it seemed like they were going to use Roll20 as their digital asset, and they were like, wait, we can make way more money if we do it ourselves.
Yeah. Also, the whole security breach. But
Yeah. And then Roll20 got all weird with their political stance, and I think Wizards was like, maybe not.
Well, what's this story? I haven't heard about this.
Oh, one of the founders, like, so it was kind of stupid, but basically it was people got upset that they couldn't. So women could ask for all women games, but men couldn't ask for all male games.
Huh.
In the forums and stuff, and it caused this big outrage just like 6 months ago or something.
That doesn't seem fair. Why can't men have all men games if they want to have all men games?
Because that's sexist, apparently.
I'm just gonna stay quiet on this for now, and we can talk about this another time and move on. And fun times, ain't it great?
So
lovely being.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing. Like, I've only seen a little bit on it. I didn't feel like it was worth the effort to really research, so I haven't. But yeah, so our topic today is story arcs, engaging your PCs, and what to do when they break everything.
Because it's gonna happen. Because as someone, I'm not going to name names, put it, bastard coded with bastard failing. It's okay. I love all of you. It's great. I love all my players equally.
Except for you, Kyle.
Oh no, I actually have a player named Kyle. Oh God, I'm dying. No, but for real, things are gonna get broken, and it's fine. It's just a matter of figuring out what to do with those broken shards that you are left with, and creating something that's still enjoyable for your players. Because at the end of the day, at least for me, as long as the players are still having fun, that's the most important thing.
Okay, let's start with like how you start constructing your campaign and how you decide to start putting your PCs into it.
Oh, that's a big one. Let me just think about that one for a second.
Like, for me, I try to start with the end and work my way backwards. So like, okay, we need to know what the bad guy is and what the motivation is, and then we can kind of work our way backwards and figure it out from there.
I don't think I start that grand. I think I start way more locally of where they start. What's the issues are around there. I have an idea about the big bad, but I mean that's so far down the line. I'm thinking about some of these more smaller things first, I think, because it's going to be relevant much quicker.
For me, I kind of a mix of both. Like, I'll be thinking about like what's going on in the background while the players are, in those lower levels, while they're taking care of like, Miss Applebottom needs you to go deliver a pie to her granddaughter. So while those like little things are going on, I'll be like dropping the little threads of, hey, these are the other things happening around in the world. You might not be quite high enough to check it out just yet, but you are getting there. And then, of course, for like the games where they're already kind of a higher level, I'll just kind of like plop them right into that action because for the most part, I'll let them know beforehand, hey, this is the history of the world that you're in. This is what you guys know. And this is what you guys as a team are coming to the table with.
Yeah, see, but I try to I generally start prepping like 2 months out before campaign starts. So like I'll have some kind of at least skeleton of idea of how I want like plots to work and set pieces. Like, you know, my far future campaign, I was like, okay, I want Vecna to try and blow up the universe. That
Fun.
was like, that was the extent of like my like big bad idea. And so I started like, okay, let's figure out how all this works. And, you know, start doing the world building. Like in this one is like the gods are real and they get more powerful the more followers they have. So like they have like marketing agencies for their religion.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. So yeah, in that campaign, I was trying to make the gods a lot more like people-ish. You know, like was it Bahamut? Who's the dragon? Like one of the dragon.
Tiamat and Bahamut.
Yeah. Like he's just like he was like super chill. Like, hey everybody, let's go and smoke weed and hang out. That's like that was his religion. It was like, hey, we're just gonna chill, and I'm gonna like give you fist bumps all the time, and like if you need a little bit of power, I'll give it to you. Like we're all.
I see this as an absolute win.
Yes.
Oh Lord. For one of the game, for the game that I normally run on Saturday afternoons, it was actually a lot of fun starting out because it was for my roommates, and I was like, "Hey guys, I have a kind of cool idea for a campaign where you guys wake up with no memories, and over the course of the game, you'll learn like who you were before all of that." So like I had. It was definitely like trying to figure out like what's going on in the background while they're trying to figure out like who am I, and then like picking up more teammates along the way, and that was a lot of fun because the pantheon that I made was one god for each alignment. So they found out that they had gone up against the chaotic evil god who was trying to wipe out all the others and had died doing so, but had been brought back as level 1 characters and are now ganging up to, you know, make a new team and go fight them again. Hopefully more successful this time. So they're getting like into the end game of that, but like we need to actually finish it. So
Fun.
I think, like, when, like, I've never gotten to that, you know, the big end game. Like, we've never really, like, it's always just kind of falls apart at some point along the way, and it's like people get bored, or I don't know. Like, I've never gotten to that. I mean, maybe that's why I don't prepare, because I haven't never experienced getting to that. Okay, we're all level 15 to 20, and we're gonna smack Vecna up. Like, never got there. I think because I like to be more methodical. I want to do the build up. I want them to increase over time to get more, so it feels earned.
no, definitely.
Mhm.
And like another guy that they play with sometime, who's also a player, he's like the first session, he has like this power NPC usually take them through, and it's like, so that's fighting gods over there. That's a big god dragon there. No, you can't do anything. They're like level 30. I'll protect you. Come, I'll drag you through on the rails. Let's go. And then it's like, and it's just like, where does it escalate from there? And then like 2 sessions later, they're level 16. and like it's just not like it escalates very quickly.
Right.
So, like there they get there, but I mean it doesn't feel like, in my opinion, very rewarding.
Right. Well, for me, like I know a lot of my campaign building comes from like how I build stories that I write. You know, since I do a fair amount of writing. So that's really the start, the end kind of philosophy of, okay, where are we going? We don't need to know how we get there. We just need to know that eventually, some point, if we get lucky enough and the campaign stays together, we'll eventually be here.
But then it's also very malleable and subject to change, right?
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Like they're like a good example. So in that Far Future campaign, I knew I wanted Merlin to be an NPC. and I knew I knew how I wanted like the fight to free Merlin to go, but I didn't actually know where I was going to put it until I was like, okay, now's the time to put it into the campaign. So like, there's a lot of times you can build like set pieces that you can just drop into different parts as the campaign progresses, which is what I try to do. Like, I try not to have like, okay, we must be in X city at this time to have this happen because, like we said, the NPCs are going to screw everything up, or PCs are going to screw everything up.
I mean, if you're not doing good as a DM, then maybe the NPCs are screwing everything up. But no, I definitely agree to that. Having those set pieces is also good for when your players absolutely destroy everything, because at least you can use those set pieces to try and get them back on track. For
to an extent, yeah, at least push the story forward.
Right.
Like a good example is like I built up the sequence that I thought would be like 2, maybe 3 sessions. Like they got really into it. It took like 8. And so I was like,
every time I make a small introduction quest, I think will take 1 session. Like 4 sessions later, they're still there.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, I've got to drop. This is where I'm dropping Merlin in. I'm like, so it's like, okay, well, so instead of what I was gonna do inside the catacombs, it's gonna be the Merlin fight.
That's fair. Yeah, I've definitely had similar. For the Sunday game that I run, they spent like the first 4 or 5 sessions just pressing this cultist for information, not getting a whole lot of other info. So eventually I had an NPC finally send them a letter to be like, hey guys, I feel like I'm in danger. I'm just gonna be chilling out here. If you don't hear from me, I'm probably dead. So that kind of like pushed them towards, let's go follow that guy. And then they did, and the plot continued to move.
I remember one New Year's Eve, we decided I was gonna run a one-off, and we were like for friends, and we're gonna go out to dinner, then go home. They were gonna make some characters. I was gonna take a nap, and the idea was we were gonna play at 12 exactly, right at when New Year starts, right? And I had planned for this to be like, like 4 a.m. or something thing. And it was like this, like they were going into this, and it was like time themed because New Year's and everything. So they go into this thing, blah blah blah. There are different trials and combats they have to go through, and at like 10 or 11 a.m. there was one more left, and I was just like,
oh no,
I'm just retconning this last fight, and it's not there, and like the end happens because I was ready to stop.
Yes, I've had a couple of one-shots like that where it's like, oh yeah, there are like maybe 3 combat encounters, and it's midnight by the time we get through the first one. We're like, oh no, we made a mistake.
But yeah, that's like sometimes that's also a thing you have to do like more on an on-session basis, or like especially my players. Like I kind of want to do cliffhangers because I think it makes for great storytelling, and like it feels good and you're excited for next week. But most of them like hate, like my 2 roommates at least, they both hate cliffhangers. They hate reading a book and then not having a next one if there's a cliffhanger. They hate watching a show ending on a cliff. Like they don't like, they get mad. They don't want to watch the stuff anymore when there's cliffhangers. Like, cause they just like, they don't want to go with that feeling. So I'm inclined to do cliffhangers, but I have to remember 2 of my players don't like it, which is really hard. Because like I feel like cliffhangers are great. It's like, and then like something shimmers in, and it's like, and we'll pick up next week. And
I am definitely guilty of loving cliffhangers as well. So you are not alone.
Yeah, I mean, my one roommate argument is that he feels like it's lazy storytelling. Like it's easy to make excitement with it, but he feels like it's very cheap, and he feels like about it.
So he doesn't. He needs a full story.
He doesn't. I mean, yeah, he needs a full story, but he just hates being left wondering, and he feels like while he recognizes it does elicit the feeling that I want to create with it, he says he feels like it's a bad way to go about it, and he doesn't like it, and he feels like it's cheap.
I guess it is also just kind of a personal style, personal preference kind of thing. So, and I guess that's something you should bring up with your players. Make sure, like, hey, I am known to end a session on a plot, on a cliffhanger. So I'm letting you know beforehand. And if you prefer I didn't do that, then we will try and see about not doing that as much, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I've said I like cliffhangers, but they don't. So I've generally been pretty good about not ending on cliffhangers. Usually, where I try to end is, for example, the last time we played, they were about to go into the docks where that docks were they were supposed to get, and we could play for another half hour. But
right.
It is like a pretty natural place to stop here and pick up next time without it being cliffhangery. While meanwhile, them going in there, we have to stop in half an hour. It's definitely going to end in the middle of something.
Right.
Yeah. So I try to do that.
Another thing I've learned to do is, especially when the PCs get really attached to an area, is let that area evolve in your head. Again, like that. So I had this group of 4 islands that they were exploring, and they got really into it. Like I was thinking like 2-3 sessions, it became 8. And so what I eventually did is like, okay, these islands are now like an important piece to this whole thing. And what happened is like way back, before time immortal or whatever, like there was a giant war, and these were actually blown from a different plane of existence, and they were sticking out into the plane of existence that the players are in. So I just like let that evolve into creating like more of the story and get the backstory more involved. Of like, all right, guys, if you're gonna like spend this much time doing this, I am definitely gonna push some story forward.
I mean, one of the, which is something I guess I kind of picked up from Critical Role. I really want my players to make good backstories and try to make them big plot lines. Each of them evolve into a major arc of the story that they experience. Outside of perhaps the major big bad Vecna that might also happen.
Right.
I like the idea of taking what they started and developing that and include so that their character feels super engaged and involved into what is happening, right?
Right.
Definitely. And I think that that's also the mark of a good DM who's able to not only create a world that the characters are invested enough in, that they create the backstory that fits well enough into that world, but also able to then in turn engage those backstories with the characters as the game progresses.
Yeah.
Exactly. I encourage my players to do that, but it's always like a 3-sentence backstory. I'm like, motherfuckers.
No, everyone who has played with me will know that I go ham for backstories. And if players are, or even as a fellow player, I'm like, let me know your backstory. I want to know more about these characters that you're making. I want to know, to the DM, I want to know more about this world that you've made. I want to make sure like everything is like fitting in and like one of those slide puzzles. And it's just so satisfying when you get to the end and you like click that last piece into place and everything falls together. Backstories are coming together. It's so much fun. It's great, and I live for it.
Definitely.
I might like character building a little bit.
This also not. It feels like so good, say, to build some really intricate, cool backstory thing, and then like, who knows how many sessions later, it finally comes up, and it's just like a bombshell. Everybody is just like, "What?"
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's what you play RPGs for, but like the pen and paper, right?
Oh yeah.
Speaking of, I need to do my DMA backstory.
Do it. We need it.
I know. I'm not...
On the other hand, though, like I don't feel like I don't want a 10-page backstory from my player. I want something that's fleshed out, but I don't want an essay.
For me, it depends on what level they are. It should, like, in my mind, it should scale with what level they are. So, like, for example, a level 1 PC should not be coming in with, yes, I was the top assassin in this army, and I have, like, 300 kills under my belt. It's like, you are level 1 rogue, buddy. You might want to scale back a wee bit. But,
I mean, I like starting at the, like, level 1.
Yeah.
First couple, I'll usually make the first, because my players have played a lot of pen and paper usually. I kind of, the first couple of levels go fast. I play with milestones. I don't know what you guys prefer.
Yeah. Same boat.
Yeah.
Because actually that's been a huge problem in my friend's game. They time skipped. And in Void, there is a thing that's like, downtime can be used to increase levels because you can gain careers. You can spend time instead of XP to gain things, classes and such. And then they ran into a problem that made basically everyone unhappy, because one of the characters was what is called a short-lived race, so they gain things faster in downtime. So she ended up being what is equivalent to 12 levels ahead of everybody else.
Oh.
And like they were not very like, but she basically cares about playing the role play. She doesn't really care about optimizing her character. She was still way more powerful than them now, but she felt like it was fair because her character was usually worse because she didn't want to engage. She didn't care about that. She didn't care about making it good. So her characters was usually way worse than theirs. She's like, that's fine. But they were all like, this is too much, especially because one of the characters died. So we've agreed that it's going to be like average level. Of the group, he gets to make a new character. And he's really good at optimizing. So he was going to come in with this insane character that was like super powerful.
Ooh.
And so she wouldn't be the most powerful anymore anyway. So it's like, can we just all agree? Instead, we're gonna do a like they're doing like a kind of like a revamp. We're all gonna be higher level, than we were before, but we're all gonna be the same level. And there was like a lot of drama about that, and she didn't like it because then she wouldn't be more powerful because she made worse characters. But like they said, like I mean, the conclusion was, if we don't do that, she's going to be way powerful. He's going to be way powerful. We're going to be shit, and it's not going to be fun. And then what we're just going to do is, like, we can just, like, okay, my character dies. I don't want to play it anymore. Oh, we agreed that we're going to be average of the group. Well, there's 2 people left. You're both high level. Now we're more powerful again. So basically, they ended up, everybody's the same level. We're kind of retconning the time skip into everybody's the same level. But it was, like, a lot of drama. And a lot of problems. That's why I play always with milestones in D&D at least. So everybody is always the same level.
Yeah.
It gets really messy otherwise.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, y'all are all on the next level now. Congratulations.
Yep. Milestone is also a lot easier for me to keep track of because I do not have a brain for numbers, and experience equals numbers, so I avoid at all costs.
Yeah, before when I used XP, it was just, you gain 6,000 XP. I'm not. How much is that relative to your level now? I'm not sure.
Wait, you're level 1? Oh no, what have I done?
No, I mean, I had a rough idea, right? But it was kind of like,
yeah.
I looked at the monsters they fought, and I was like, and then you have to time by 1.5 because they're this party size. Plus, they did story things. They're going to get bonus for that.
Right.
6,000.
The only time I would use XP if I was actually using like Adventures League, pre-made modules where like the XP is awarded by the booklet. Like, okay,
right.
Y'all did this, and this. Congratulations, you have this much XP. Which I've
never tried eventually. I get it as a concept because I went to FNMs in Magic, which is kind of, you go to your game store on Friday and you play Magic and you get stuff for it. And Adventure League is kind of like that, right? But for Dungeons and Dragons.
Right. Well, and the idea for it is that everyone's supposed to be running the same module. So if you go to say you're traveling and you go to an Adventures League, you should be able to find a game in the exact spot where your character is.
but with new people.
But with new people, right?
So it follows universal.
Right.
This time we're doing this book, and next week we're doing this part of the book, and next week we're doing this part of the book.
Essentially, yeah. And generally, what they do is whatever one of the new books is, they'll create Adventures League modules for the new book, and you essentially play through the new book.
Ari, you're the resident Pathfinder expert. Is it similar like that? Because I know they have something similar with you can take your Pathfinder character any Pathfinder game.
I do not know because I rarely play outside of my pre-established group. I don't.
Okay.
I don't really do Adventure League stuff. I'd like to someday, but don't have the time for it right now.
But Pathfinder did do basically Adventure League first, right? They did that concept before they did it with Wizards.
So.
I think they did. I think it's like that. That's what I heard. That's the scuttlebutt. I've done no research on this.
It's a great way to get into it because it's a lot more structured than like a home.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into D&D was Adventures League. I don't play it anymore, but it is a lot of fun.
I feel like it sounds like a lot of the magic about Dungeons and Dragons gets taken away, or about tabletop RPGs from my perspective gets taken away in Adventures League.
I don't know. I mean, it is more railroady. But like I said, for new players, it's great because
I mean, you have your character, you have your stats. But like, for example, one of the big things that I enjoy is involving the character backstory into the story and exploring that. And that's not a thing. Basically, your backstory is irrelevant other than from your old role playing perspective, right?
To an extent, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say that, but getting started is just one less thing to worry about. Because I mean. We've all been playing for a while, but I don't know if you remember when you first started playing. It's like there's so much crap going on; it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, definitely. I started playing before 5th edition came out. I wanted I'm my roommate's friend from school's like, I want to start a new campaign in Vampire the Masquerade Mortals. I think it was where you play mortals in the Vampire the Masquerade world. And I was like, I love urban fantasy, so I was like, I'm on. I want to play that. And then it's just I realized I think that's why I basically only GM now. Is I just feel like when I'm there as a player, I just don't have enough say in what's going on in the world, and that annoys me inside as a person. Which is why I GM, and I don't mind GMing, just because, like, when I play as a player, I can get really frustrated. And I know that's not fair to the GM or the other players, that I want to exert my will upon the world because I'm just a player. So it works way better when I'm a GM.
That's what you call a toxic player.
I don't know.
But yeah, I started before the 5th edition, and then once 5th edition came out, I tried giving it a go again, both as a player and a GM. It's so much easier to get into than anything I tried before, which was Iron Kingdoms, some Vampire the Masquerade systems. I think we tried something else too. But like 5th edition, leaps and bounds easier to get into. And Adventure League is like even easier to get into, right?
Right.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think that 5th edition is definitely made that way. And I'm so happy that it is and that it exists, because I think that because it is so streamlined that it definitely has kind of broken down that wall for new players who have been interested for so long, weren't able to get into it before, now are able to, just because like it's easier to understand.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, the 5th edition plus Critical Role, that was just the magic sauce coming to, like, that was the ingredients for this huge renaissance that's happened with pen and paper.
There's never been more known players than ever. Like, there's more people playing D&D now than there has ever been at any one time.
Yeah.
I mean, to a lesser extent, also just streaming in general, right? But I definitely think specifically Critical Role was what put it forward and made other people stream as well.
Well, it's also so much easier to play, Yeah,
that's the other part. That's so easy to get into.
Well, and also just like you don't have to have friends in the same time zone anymore. You can
We live in a digital
Roll20,
age.
Skype and all that stuff.
But yeah, now here we are, where everybody plays D&D. Like, how awesome is that? Like, big famous actors are like, yeah, I play D&D. Like, we had Matthew Mercer run off with Colbert. I never thought I would see these things.
Well, now it's acceptable to be like, yes, I am a nerd.
Yeah, that I did think I would see, because this whole culture change has definitely been over my life, my generation, kind of. I went from, like, in school, okay, sure, you could play computer games. A lot of people did that, mostly the boys. But being geeky or nerdy and being into fantasy stuff and reading and stuff was like, comic books was not cool. Video games, to an extent, sure. But anything else, it wasn't really. You were like, oh, you were a dork, basically. But that's just like,
it's
from my generation to my younger brother, who's 10 years younger than me. It's like night and day. It's okay to be a nerd and wear your geeky shit and read books. Like, it's way more cool.
Well, in the U.S., like I remember when I was young, D&D was like evil considered, and now it's like super accepted.
Yeah, you're like or the age of Matthew Mercer, right?
How old is he?
Ish. I'm not sure, but he's like, when he was young, it was like the same, I think. Let's see, age. He's 37.
Yeah, he's 2 years older than me.
Yeah. So they when they grew up, it was evil, and when I grew up, it was like at the least not cool playing Magic Dungeons and Dragons.
You're like,
yeah. But my brother, it's like for his generation, it's way more. Not so much if it's cool and not cool. It's just like, yeah, sure, you do you, buddy.
Right.
That's way more a thing in that gen. Even though technically, I think my brother and I are the same generation, even though he's 10 years younger than me, but he's like right on the line.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's. I've never seen a bigger cultural gap in such a short period than from when I graduated college, and then 3 years later. Because that's when the iPhone came out and everything changed. Like,
that's when I was in school and decided to drop out and get a job, and that didn't work so well.
But it's cultural revolution, man. And we've been way off topic.
It's fine.
I feel if it's still D&D related, and I actually feel like it's an interesting conversation. But yeah. It's amazing how fast things like culturally shift now. Some for good, some not for good. But just in general, I guess it's the internet and everybody being plugged in and everybody voicing their opinions all the time. There's so much shift and movement all the time, and not just nerddom, but in everything.
Yeah, like Critical Role definitely had a big thing. Stranger Things had a big piece to it.
The Adventure Zone is another big one.
Yeah.
I'd also like to think that maybe it's because people are nicer. Maybe.
Maybe.
That's just the hopeful person in me.
But yeah, I read this article recently about how like there's been this huge boom in like original like D&D modules and stuff. Like you find like first edition supplements or something, and they're going for 10x what they used to.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, suddenly Canadian. I don't know what.
I
was about to say. But my roommate sold 3.5 books around the time 5th edition came out for basically. They already then it was like they were original value or a little bit more. And I'm pretty sure it has just like gone up, because if nothing else, even if people are not playing it that much, people love collecting things.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Especially geeks and nerds, like for sure. Like I got into reading again 2 months ago, so I went from 0 books, except like my old stuff, like 10 books or something, into I think I have 40 or 50 books now. because I just found a good used bookstore online, and it's like, oh yeah, I want that one. I want that one. I want that one.
Dangerous on the wallet.
At least it's used books, and they're usually like a couple of bucks.
Yeah.
Like I kick myself for not buying it. Like I found this, 1E rule set in good condition signed by Gygax.
Oh,
that
wow.
sounds expensive.
And it was like $200. And now it's
That's
like
not bad,
$2,000.
though. Jeez, yeah.
This was like 9 months ago. Just like, ah.
Oof. Yeah.
But it's one of those times where you're like I had the money too. I was like, no, I'll be responsible. I should be an adult. I shouldn't spend $200 on something I'm just going to like put somewhere and just show off to people.
That's like I knew and understood. Like I had a concept and grasp about Bitcoin way back, and I was like, yeah, that could be fun. I mean, I should put a couple of like bucks into it, like a couple hundred kroner. That could be fun just to have. I should do that. Never did it, and now and like especially in the biggest boom, I was just like, why didn't I do it?
Yeah, I remember telling my
Hindsight's
friend
2020.
Ryan. Yeah, I remember telling my friend Ryan back in 2009. I was like, hey, there's this Bitcoin thing. We should put like $100 into it and see what happens. I was back when it was like 1/100 of a cent for one coin.
Yeah, and I liked it as a concept too. I still like it as a concept. I think it's a great idea. So I was like, I would like just nothing else, just to it's a novelty to have, even if it's never gonna go anywhere. It was like worth nothing. It was before the guy like bought pizza, which was like the first purchase. Like it was before that, and I could have had so much money now, and I just didn't do it. And I just fucking hindsight.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how it always is.
Yeah.
We're kind of off topic again. It's fine. No, I got this. We bring it back around to making money from DMing. There we go. See, it all works out.
Yeah, that's we've I mean, maybe people can like write in or like give us their opinion. We're talking about making next month's episode about how to make money from DMing, like with Roll20 and stuff, and what you have to consider. And like Jacob is pretty business savvy, so he can give some tips on that end.
Well,
if people would be interested in that, at least in the US, which is probably on average. I don't know what our stats are. Most listeners are from.
Probably, but still, like tax codes are wildly different across the world. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, that's a topic for next time we meet.
Yeah. So if people are interested, that would be like great to hear from you. If you wanna, if you like anything we should. I mean, if you have experience, if someone who's listening now is like, yeah, I make money from DMing on Roll20, like maybe we could have you on. That would be cool.
Yeah, maybe we can try and reach out to like some people who have posts and be like, hey, would you like to come on? And
yeah, we'll give you at least like 20 people exposure here.
I think we're doing a little better than that. Maybe.
I'm actually not sure what our downloads are because Jacob usually has the stats on that.
I haven't looked in a while. I guess I should look at that.
Yeah. But in the meantime, our mailbag is always open. We love hearing from you guys. Love hearing your questions, be it about like specifically DM related or just general questions about tabletop gaming. So and it gives us more stuff to talk about. So
yeah, it's a lot easier when it makes our job a lot easier if we have mailbag questions.
yeah, please, we're begging you.
Free content is great content.
There you go.
We just have to answer other people's questions. It's like, yeah.
Well, actually,
Didn't have to think about anything.
This. We have like 3,000 subscribers.
Hey.
And the way
Click
that
that button, yo.
Yeah, the way that works in
Yeah.
RSS, right, is like whenever a new episode comes out, a subscriber equals a download, right?
It's what this is RSS subs.
Do they automatically download when an episode comes out?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure. I don't do a lot of RSS. I watch things on YouTube usually.
Yeah.
When I do podcast things.
I don't know what our YouTube is like. I don't really.
I don't know. 0?
I'm so bad. It's not 0. It is definitely not 0.
Is it on the
Have a
Broken
little
Jars main
faith.
channel?
Do what?
Is it on the main channel of Broken Jars, right?
Yeah, it's everything but the Dresden is on the main channel, which it should be on the main channel, but it's not. You bastards.
We have like 3 views, 6 views, 4 views. It's not Dresden size on YouTube, but even
No.
Dresden is like so small on YouTube compared to our actual RSS subscribers.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dresden, here is my mister. He is
Hey, mister.
purring obnoxiously.
And drooling. My cat does that too.
Oh, yes, he is very drooly.
Yeah, when he's happy, when he's like, oh yeah, this is great. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
I think we are sufficiently off.
Yeah,
topic.
we're probably good. We're probably
So
good.
let's call it time. If you would like to suggest a topic, please email us. Hit us up on Twitter.
we actually don't have any
Pigeon.
questions this time.
No, because we didn't
Oh man.
really. Yeah, we
we didn't
kinda-
press for it.
yeah. This is just gonna be the random topic episode.
That's fine. We are allowed to have those.
Yes, it is. All right. Until next time, which will be a Thanksgiving-ish episode. Time for
Woohoo!
See y'all next time.
Next time.
Bye.
Ciao, folks.
Yeah.